Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. We're going to talk about Doctor Who, and again, that bombshell announcement that Russell T Davies is coming back as showrunner. Is he going to be able to save the show? Is he going to save the BBC? It seems like there's more at stake here than just Doctor Who. We're going to talk about the continuing news of Davies' return to the TARDIS. They say you can never go home again. I hope that he can right this ship, but it definitely hit the iceberg. The TARDIS hit the iceberg a couple of years ago. This last tenure of Chibnall and company, Jodie Whittaker, has been disastrous for the show's ratings, disastrous for the goodwill in the fandom. It split the fandom right down the middle, very much like The Last Jedi has done for Star Wars, or Discovery has done for Star Trek. It's one of these aging legacy franchises that when you come into the situation and you tinker with it too much, and you show disdain for longtime fans trying to chase a new audience, sometimes you wind up with nothing. You wind up losing the new audience because they're just not into it, and the old school fans reject you as well. And that seems to be what's going on with Doctor Who. Look at Jodie Whittaker's first episode. Massive ratings. Everybody tuned in. I think a lot of people were feeling that Doctor Who was getting a little stale. They wanted to see what the big deal was. Hey, the Doctor's going to be a woman now. And it just fell week after week, month after month, season after season. And the biggest FU to fans was the Timeless Child, the retcon at the end of season 12, where they told you everything you knew was a lie. The Doctor never was a Time Lord at all. The Doctor's some other kind of alien, has had thousands of regenerations, and the Time Lord stole the technology from the Doctor by killing the child repeatedly again and again and again. Horrible origin. It's something that could be retconned away, but it doesn't seem like Davies is going to do that. But there is more at stake than just Doctor Who. So let's talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 236,000 subs. Finally, I think YouTube's up to some shenanigans again. 236,000 subs. Thank you for the support. We do talk about Doctor Who. It used to be one of my favorite shows. It was my favorite live action show. It was a show that I watched every week. Even if we were traveling, I made sure that I watched that week's episode of Doctor Who live if I could. And I noped out after the Timeless Children. I did. I was just like, screw this show. Now, actually, I noped out about halfway through series 11. Came back in for the finale, still found the show to be very boring and very preachy. And, after I caught wind of what they were planning to do with the Timeless Children, I'm like, forget this. This is garbage. This is a dumpster fire. And I think a lot of other people feel the same way, judging by the ratings, which are terrible. So I got to give a hat tip to CCG for this article. It came out yesterday. Comic Book Resources calling it out. Russell T Davies is Doctor Who's last hope to save the BBC. This isn't just about Doctor Who. The BBC is not in really good shape right now either. Russell T Davies has been reappointed as the showrunner of Doctor Who, but it's the BBC itself that needs to try and get rescued from cancellation. Last week saw the shock announcement that Russell T Davies would return to Doctor Who, replacing current showrunner Chris Chibnall. And we're going to talk about Jodie Whittaker being very, very sad. And I wonder how much of this was her decision or the BBC's decision. Clearly, things not going well. However, it's not just the future of Doctor Who that's at stake, as this move may be an attempt by the BBC to prevent from being dismantled. Although it does have commercial ventures, the BBC is funded primarily via a license fee, which every UK household pays yearly in order to watch broadcast television. The Conservative Party, which has been in government since 2010, has questioned the value of the TV license in modern times. During the 2019 general election, Prime Minister Boris Johnson even indicated the license fee could be scrapped entirely. This has been a conversation, yeah. It's like they're forcing you to pay for shitty TV. Man, that sucks. Taking the BBC out of public ownership in favor of a subscription service or other commercial funding. So yeah, the BBC becomes Netflix. That's basically what it becomes. Davies has publicly opposed such proposals. He shot down the notion of the BBC as a subscription service like HBO, noting that for almost the same price as a TV license, the American broadcaster gives you a couple of good hours of drama a week and nothing else. Despite providing a multitude of channels, the number of new shows being broadcast by HBO pales in comparison to the number of repeats, with none of the factual material currently offered by the BBC. So what they're saying is people pay for HBO just to watch a couple shows like Game of Thrones. And people would probably pay for the BBC just to watch a couple of shows, including Doctor Who, if it was any good. That seems to be where this is going. Now, I actually paid for the, was it BBC box, I think at one point in time. I think it was called something like that. Anyway, the American subscription service, the BBC, and I paid for it to make sure I could watch Doctor Who. So yeah, they're right. People will pay for it. I used to buy episodes. If I couldn't watch it, I would buy it from Amazon to be able to watch it. And I'd pay like $2 or $3 an episode to be able to watch it. Like as soon as it hit midnight on its original airing, if I missed it, I could watch it. I mean, literally, like that's how much I love Doctor Who. That's how much I love this show. Like it's the only show that I would do that for. The only show. Of all the stuff I'd watch, of all the cartoons we talk about, whatever, that was the only one that I was willing to pay per episode just so I wouldn't miss it. And yeah, you know, if it was worth paying for, hell yeah. In other words, a privatized BBC would be unable to fund the huge amount of content it currently produces. It would not have the resources to offer news programs and other factual shows or be able to maintain its array of radio channels. Without the license fee, the corporation in its current form would cease to exist, becoming just another business, answering to shareholders instead of the British public. It doesn't seem like they're really answering to the British public now, does it? Because the British public is telling you, they're telling you what they want by the dismal ratings, and you're not listening. This is a fate which Davies has declared inevitable, stating in the same interview that the battle for the BBC has been lost. It's significant that the BBC has once again placed Doctor Who in the care of Davies, who in 2005 made a global hit out of a show that was canceled in 1989. Earlier this year, he told journalist Paul Kirkley that Doctor Who should become a vast empire like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even suggesting a Doctor Who channel. Despondent as he may be about the BBC's future, he may have been rehired to significantly increase the value of the TV license, rewarding the British taxpayer with a vast multimedia franchise. He started that. When Doctor Who, on his watch, you know, we had Doctor Who, we had Torchwood, we had Sarah Jane. You know, they had started that. They started all these spin-offs, and they were actually pretty good. And then, you know, under Moffat, it just all kind of disappeared. And then everything kind of shrank, and now here we are where nobody watches Chibnall's version of the show. Alternatively, this could ensure that the BBC survives its transition out of the public's hands. For the first time, the show will be co-produced by a third party in the form of Bad Wolf Productions, who collaborated with the BBC and, ironically, HBO to make His Dark Materials, which I fucking love. I'm going to say it. I love His Dark Materials. I love the books. I did, but I was very surprised how faithful to the books the series was. I didn't think it was something that could be adapted very well. And yeah, I mean, it feels budget cut in places, but I think they did a pretty good job. I think the cast is very, very good. So this isn't maybe. I'm being stupidly optimistic, I know, but you know, give me this. Give me this one. Maybe we can save Doctor Who. Maybe of all the IP that's burning, maybe we can snatch Doctor Who from the fire. I doubt it. I know. Everybody's like, no, Neon, no, you know, don't hope for change. It's not going to happen. I'm like, God, I hope. I just hope. This doesn't only allow Bad Wolf co-founder Julie Gardner to return as Doctor Who's executive producer, it also turns the show into a brand that can be loaned to other companies, a necessity if the BBC ever loses the ability to produce the programs in-house. Now, this is kind of important. There's not a lot. Hey, they bring up Ollie. This is important because Doctor Who is not selling merchandise anymore. It's not. You know, 13th Doctor stuff is not selling. You go to stores that used to sell tons of Doctor Who, it's not selling. Nobody gives a shit. Compared to the David Tennant and especially the Matt Smith era where even American kids were buying Doctor Who toys. and they were all over the place. You go to Disney World and UK Pavilion, tons and tons and tons of Doctor Who merchandise, and nobody cares. They don't care. The show is in a really bad place right now. Whether Davies can prevent this outcome or not, it's inevitable that his reappointment to Doctor Who will continue his criticism of the conservatives beyond interviews. His recent shows like Years and Years and It's a Sin. Is this Ollie Alexander? Is that him? Yeah, I think it is. Seems like a funny kid. He's like 30, but he seems pretty funny. We'll talk about him because he was rumored to be the next Doctor, and I think it's been shot down, but I don't think he would be a bad choice. I really don't think he would be. They've used the past and future to satirize British politics, the latter even featuring one of its protagonists urinating in the coffee of 1980s Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Everybody loves a good piss joke. Carrying his spirit into Doctor Who could provide the BBC with a voice against its bigger detractors, proving to those who keep it running it can perform a public service, making the powerful accountable with television drama. Or you could just, go back to Adventures in Space and Time, with a little bit of political overtone, but really, go back to basics and what worked and what brought Doctor Who back very successfully in the mid-2000s. You could do that. Just kind of go back to that. Do that again, because that worked and that got ratings and that sold merchandise, But that's too easy, right? It remains to be seen if that will convince the UK populace to reignite the fight for the BBC. Well, yeah, I mean, this is nuts. This whole situation's nuts, and Doctor Who was a cash cow for the BBC. Here's another one from Den of Geek. Doctor Who, what does the second coming of Russell T Davies mean for the franchise? They 3 paragraphs in, and they're bringing up John Barrowman. Like, well, you can't bring John Barrowman back. They also bring up some of his older episodes, Aliens of London, World War III. The use of fat people as monsters and victims is horrible. Why would you do that? Why would you, the adipose? I think we're talking about the adipose. There's also an undercurrent of disappointment that not only is the new showrunner another cis white man, but he's gay. Doesn't count anymore, right? It's not enough. But as someone who has run the show before, yes, when the show was the most successful, that's when Russell T Davies ran it. Why would you not bring him back? You're like, oh my God, the show is dead. Who can fix it? Call the guy who fixed it before, who brought it back from death before. That's what you do. Doctor Who was effectively a dead franchise before Russell T Davies came back in 2005. We had the movie, and there were talks of, a reboot, and it never happened. And there were, the audio dramas and books and stuff like that. But, Doctor Who was gone for a long time, 15, 16 years. And then Russell T Davies brought it back, knocked it out of the park. Show was an incredible hit. And that is the version of Doctor Who that a lot of people are thinking about now, is especially the David Tennant, Matt Smith era. For a lot of people, that was their first introduction to Doctor Who. That was my kid's first introduction to Doctor Who. But I think he needs to come back. He needs to come back. Now, who's going to be the next Doctor? I mean, there's talks of Ollie Alexander, who I'm not that familiar with. I had to look him up when he was being kicked around before. And the guy's funny. People are like, oh, we don't want any gay people in the TARDIS. I'm like, have you watched Russell T Davies' Doctor Who the first couple seasons? Do you know he is gay? That's not the issue. Just, are you right for the Doctor? Yes or no? And the guy's pretty funny. I don't think I would be opposed to him being the Doctor. That being said, I think it's been shot down. Billie Piper said she would return. She would return for sure. So then the other possibility is, what if he brought back David Tennant? I mean, he totally could bring back David Tennant. You want people to tune into Doctor Who? Bring Russell T Davies back, bring David Tennant back, bring Billie Piper back. And people will tune in. Absolutely. Retcon, the Timeless Child storyline, didn't happen, or it was a lie or something. People would absolutely tune in. And you can do it because they left a loophole. in the 50th anniversary. The curator, which was, Tom Baker's doctor, it was Tom Baker playing the curator, implied that the doctor could go back and revisit faces. Just the favorite ones. Very easy fix. David Tennant's back. He is the 10th Doctor and he is the 14th Doctor. And maybe this Doctor's got a little bit of a different personality. Obviously looks a little bit older, but okay. And we dip into the alternate universe and we bring Rose over. Very possible. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. They could very easily fix this show, but will they? Probably not. I mean, I would like to think that they don't have a choice, but can Doctor Who be unfucked? I don't know. It's pretty bad right now. But again, everything can be undone or rewritten via time travel. You can kind of wave it away and all of this. I mean, who's to say that the little girl that was discovered by the Gallifreyan scientist wasn't actually like the 200th Doctor just from the future sent into, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of things you could do to get around it. But the point being is they really got to save this show. They got to save it. Like, Doctor Who's a classic. You cannot just let it die this way. Ridiculous. Jodie Whittaker, not happy that she's leaving the TARDIS. She's in emotional limbo. She's still knee deep in shooting. To me, this hasn't finished. She said, "You're just in it, but I could be in it." So the good thing now is being announced, these are my last episodes that I'm shooting doesn't mean I have to let go just yet. Sounds to me like maybe she wasn't ready to go. Maybe they pushed her out the damn door. Like Peter Capaldi. My understanding was that Peter Capaldi did not want to leave. They kind of pushed him out. And I freaking love Peter Capaldi. I think he had garbage storylines to work with, but as a doctor, I freaking loved him. I loved him, and I wish they would have given him better storylines to work with. And he did not want to go. But, the BBC has not been making smart decisions. But they might not have a choice. I mean, if BBC goes, privatized and you're going to be depending on subscriptions, you're going to have to do better. You're going to have better content. You're going to have to do better than this because ratings are dog shit. And nobody's going to pay for the BBC to watch shitty, subpar Doctor Who. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, apparently there's a lot riding on it. Gonna wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.